So, hello everybody. I hear you guys are going to freeze your rear ends off. It's alright. Take solace in the fact that we too, here in Florida, are going to freeze too. Yeah, we're not escaping it, guys. I hope you guys are keeping warm. It is going to be a frigid Christmas. Woo, yeah. Last Christmas was warm. We were having Christmas and sweating my rear end off. And this one, oh yeah, I think we're not even supposed to get out of the 40s during the day. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, protecting all those plants, but still, getting ready to grow food or even still growing it. So yeah, I'm out here digging up my chia plants because even though they can normally survive just fine in the ground in winter, if we get really cold, it will kill my plants back. So every year, regardless, I take some cuttings, whole stock cuttings, and I just stick them in my greenhouse or pot them up. These chia are kind of like semi-succulent, the wood's really fleshy, so they store really well. You can literally store them just as cuttings, good sized cuttings, on your counter in a cool, dry, dark spot for weeks, maybe even months during the winter if you had to. So, super easy, guys. Or you can dig up the roots, pot it, put it somewhere where it's not going to freeze so you have it for next year. But yeah, tree spinach, chia, definitely a plant worth growing. You can grow it anywhere. And like I said, just now when it gets cold, just bring in cuttings or bring in the whole plant. I leave the crowns in the ground, take cuttings just to be safe. And then it grows so fast and so easily. I just replant it out after the frosts are done and have amazing, delicious, tasty spinach, quotes, year round pretty much. Well, at least until it freezes solid. But yeah, we're supposed to get whacked by that cold pretty good too. And yeah, down in the 20s, we're always colder where I am. My spot is much colder. They tell me in Tampa it's going to be down to 30. I know I'm going to be at least 4 or 5, possibly 6, maybe even colder degrees lower than them. So pretty crazy. But, Chaya, maybe we should talk about Chaya. Maybe not the best time when I'm digging up to try and keep it alive, but amazing plant. This variety right here is a broad maple leaf variety. That's what it's called, broad maple leaf. Really light flavored leaves, nice big leaves. They're not as large as other varieties. I've got actually several varieties of chia, which most people don't know or aren't aware that there are multiple chia varieties in the country. I think I have one, two, three, five, six or so of them, and some of them taste different. Some are dwarves. They'll have different leaf shapes. So real pretty plants and different flavors, suitable for different cooking or uses. This one's really good as an actual spinach substitute. You just take the young tender leaves, blanch them real quick, and then whatever you want to do, soup, stew, stir fry them up with some butter, salt and pepper, put them in your eggs, put them in your wraps. Really tasty, really nice mild flavor. No stinging hairs on this one, you know. So yeah, some of them have stinging hairs. But yeah, really tasty one. I have another variety, um, Belize, you know, I just call Belize. And it is a huge leaf variety, very, very large leaves. Has some stinging hairs on it, but not bad. It's not like, you can't touch the plant, you'll die. It's just a few, sometimes underneath the leaves or whatever. But really big, giant leaves, and those are really good. You blanch them whole, and they make awesome wraps. The whole leaf, make a green wrap out of it. A little more stronger, kind of like a spinachy, green, leafy flavor on that one. I've also got a spotted palmate variety, which has you see these leaves, very fat, very, the name describes it very well. Broad maple leaf. And then giant Belize. And then the spotted palmate, the stalk is extremely, really dark green and beautiful white spots on it. Really pronounced white spotting. But the leaves are very thin and palmate. And that one's actually really good because it's a little strong tasting. but really, I like the flavor. I'll actually go get a video of that one, get some shots of that one, go talk about it. And are really good for blending raw and then letting it sit there for a few minutes, mixing it up or putting it in your fridge overnight, and then adding that to smoothies or using it to thicken up soups and stews. Really good one. That one's really, really good. And then I have a dwarf variety that only gets maybe 3-4 feet tall versus something like this one or the giant Belize that easily get up to 10 feet tall in a season if you let them. So you should always cut them back so you have more growth, so you get those delicious leaves. And what else do I have? The dwarf variety. I've got another one named after a plant researcher that brought it in, and that one's got a few stingy hairs on it. But yeah, several different varieties of Chea. Multiple pretty ones. They're great plants for butterflies. The butterflies really love the flower spikes they get. Type of flower spike with a bunch of white flowers on top, and the butterflies just love them. I actually have a video up of the butterflies going batshit over the Chea flowering, and yeah, awesome plants to grow, guys. Maybe we get a shot of that one in the back. I actually have a whole tree of it. Let's go look at that. Here we are in the greenhouse. Here's a shot of 3 potted varieties that I already had potted up for a couple weeks. This one called Marabou, a dwarf there, and Spiny. Which, interestingly enough, the Spiny one, which I think is on the left there, even though it's not super, super spiny like some of the wild varieties that you got in South America, but it's got really good flavor. Just like super nutty leaves when you cook it. Just awesome. Again, you just blanch them or chop them up and blanch them. But yeah, the spines on it. People don't like the spines because they'll sting you, a little bit, burn and itch a little bit. But it's got some of the best flavor out of all of the ones that I have. Go figure, right? But I guess that's why they're spiny. It tastes good. You got to protect it. But look at, you can see they all have different leaf shapes. Look at that. All those different leaf shapes. And they all have that, the broad maple leaf, the giant Belize, the Marabou, the dwarf, the spiny, the spotted palmate. Yeah, very interesting plants. I'm back, guys. Had to travel all the way to the back of the property here to my goats. Hey, big guy. Well, let's say hi to the goat. Hey, big guy. Hey. Hey, good boy. What? Be nice. I'm filming. That's my buck. Hey, big guy. You're alright. Are you hungry? I'll get you some food. Anyway, Chea. Yeah, this is the palmate varieties. Spotted palmate. Look at those leaves. Isn't that gorgeous? That leaf. One of the most unique leafed varieties that I have. And yeah, just really gorgeous. This one happens to flower the most as well. And again, I do have a video up of this flowering and just covered in butterflies. I'll see if I can go hunt it down and put it in the description for you guys. But again, super easy to grow. And you can see the stalks in there. Can you see how spotted those are? Can you see all the spots on it? Really spotty white trunk. And this one's pretty big. It's not super tall. It's only about 7 feet tall. Big, huge dome of a plant. And just massive amounts of food, guys. This plant is one that I thought died last year in our super cold snap, or last winter. So I just kind of threw the stump over here, and it actually sprouted. And this is just this year's growth. It grew back from the roots. I thought it had died completely, but it didn't. And look at it. It's huge. It's probably about 7 feet tall, about 10 feet wide. Yeah, just tons and tons of tree spinach leaves there. So there you go, guys. Chea tree spinach. Grow food, grow super easy things, super easy to grow things that are nutritious and delicious. And Chea suits that. You can grow it absolutely anywhere. And if you get super cold and You know, either give it a little protection or just take some cuttings and bring it in, pot it up, whatever. Super easy to keep going, super fast growing, and all the varieties have subtle different flavors. They all have different leaf shapes, and I believe one of the ones I have actually has pink flowers. I forget which one, but this one has masses of like umbrellas of white flowers. Butterflies just love it. But anyway, yeah, grow that food, guys. Stay warm. Winter's coming. So go make yourself some like spinach soup. That sounds good, actually. This one would be really good for that. Take the young leaves. You know, there's a young leaf. Look at that beautiful young leaf. Look at that. Just take that young leaf like that and blanch it. Then chop it up real fine and put it in your broth or your cream base. Oh, creamy tree spinach soup. That would be amazing, yeah. And super good. Or for your smoothies, or if you want like a blended kind of soup, just take those leaves, blend it up in a blender or food processor, and then add it to your base. Oh, so much. The uses are, you know, anything you can imagine, guys. Most people lack imagination when they're cooking, so that's a big issue. But there's some flowers falling. They will freeze back, unfortunately. But yeah, you guys can do anything with this. And like I said, there you go. Grow food. Enjoy eating that food too, guys. And just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Tree spinach. See you guys later. Love you. Stay warm. Keep your bellies happy. And even if you can't exactly grow food right now because you're in the negative digits, you know, as soon as it warms up, get back to growing and grow some tree spinach. Tasty stuff.